we're going to be looking at a flat earther called Level Earth Observer. This guy, he proclaims that he debunks things, guys, but he provides no evidence, no proof, no nothing. He just makes a bunch of claims that, quite frankly, the only thing it debunks is his brain. Let's watch, guys.
This is the Apollo 15 lander. They're about to blast off home. The stage prop, or the lander, has been put on uneven ground, so it's slightly tilting to the left. We're going to see this thing blast off. In my opinion, what you see is a distractional little party popper type explosion. And then you see the pod that leaves it, the bottom of it, the moment it leaves the lander, the bottom of that pod that they're in, supposedly, levels out, i.e. goes horizontal. It levels out. Rather than travel in the same direction it's facing, it levels out instantly. I would have thought the rocket went in a straight direction and continued, but it levels out instantly. And I'm going to show you what I think is going on in a second here. But let's just look at the footage. Levels out and then it glides off to the left. Let's just automatic. Glides off to the left, okay, in relation to where it is now. Okay. Let's just come back here. Again, this thing will, you'll get the party popper distractional explosion. The bottom of it will level out and it'll glide off to the left, okay? Let's watch again. You see already it's leveling out here. Totally leveled out and gliding off to the left, okay?
Right.
No, it's not okay, because I don't see what you're seeing, and I don't think that anybody else does. The problem we have here is that we have a flat earther who has a presupposed idea that the earth is flat and space is fake and NASA lies about everything. So what you're basically saying here is that NASA, who gets $52 million a day, released a video that an idiot like you can scrutinize and find some kind of claim against them to prove their fakeness. The escape pod does not level out immediately. The escape pod continually goes off to the left because it was sitting on uneven ground, pointed to the left a little bit. That's what you see. And you're providing no facts of why you think it does that or proof of what it does and why it does it. You're just saying that's what it does when nobody else sees it doing what you're saying it does. So let's hear what else you got and see if you can provide any proof of your claim.
Now I'm going to show you what I think's going on here. Right, just to show you what I mean regarding that craft taking off from the moon. I would have thought when it took off from its position on the uneven ground, tilting to the left as we look at it, it would just go like that in a straight line. Okay? Straight line, in line with its landing gear. What actually happens is it corrects itself the moment it engages. You get this little distractional explosion, and then you see it exactly what you see when you pick something up that's on uneven ground. It centers up immediately. Watch the bottom. This is exactly what happens with that craft as it leaves the landing gear. It levels straight out from the angle. As soon as the weight's engaged, levels out.
Say what?
Okay, so you just debunked your own claim. Nobody watching this video, dude, sees the space lander swing like the mason jar did. Your claim is that you think that it's being lifted by a crane. So there's no way that you can get away from that swinging action because it's on uneven ground. Nobody watching this video except maybe you and your flat earth biased idiot friends see that space module swinging back and forth like you just showed there. You debunked yourself. We're moving on to the next video. Why? Because you, sir, are a fucking idiot. Ding.
1969 supposed moon landing, right? They've landed. They did a few wheel spins on the moon, played a bit of golf, jumped back in the lander. They're now flying back to the orbiter where Michael Collins is filming them. This is where we join the action. Let's have a look. Notice around the craft you're going to see a thin line all around the outside of the craft that's blurred, that gives you the impression it's been layered in. Alright? Fake, obviously.
Left the moon and returned to Columbia.
I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if Neil and Buzz, when they were on the moon, they picked some wild mushrooms and got hungry on the way back and things got a bit trippy or what. I don't know. But the music they're playing here is bang on for Neil's driving, because he's all over this shot.
Within this strange ship, 2 astronauts and a treasure. Triple sealed vacuum boxes of rocks and soil from the surface of the moon.
Just watch the way this craft maneuvers around. If you can't see this is fake, there's no hope.
Locked within these rocks were secrets of the ages to be studied and deciphered by the scientists of Earth. The age of the moon.
How'd you work out the age of the moon from some petrified wood?
Alright, so this is common flat earth idiotic, non-research idiots who believe, that want to just believe the flat earth, and they don't do research. They just jump on anything they hear. Okay, so what we have here, the whole petrified moon rock deal, here's what happened. Okay, back in October of 1969, a guy named J.W. Middendorf II, he was a U.S. ambassador to the Netherlands, okay, at the time, all right, gave what he said was a moon rock to the Dutch Prime Minister at the time, he was a former Dutch Prime Minister, William Dries, okay? Well, when William Dries died in 1988, they just took that item and donated it to the museum, okay, to be put on display. Well, there was in 2006, Arno Welders, he was a physicist and he worked at NASA, said that it's highly unlikely that NASA donated such a large rock to anybody, because they did donate some rocks to other, officials of countries, but they were tiny little specimens, and they were sealed in vacuum sealed in plastic, where this one wasn't. It was just, like, hey, it's a rock, you know what I mean? So they had it tested and found out that it was petrified wood. No NASA didn't donate that rock. NASA didn't do any testing of that rock. And NASA said, no, that's not a rock that we ever gave to anybody. That was right after the first moon mission. They didn't take their handful of rocks that they had there and just donated them willy-nilly, like, oh, here's a rock, here's a rock, here's a rock. No, they took a rock and broke it down into a bunch of tiny-ass pieces to give to other countries, so that they can have it, do whatever they want to with it. Not a big-ass fucking rock that weighed 15 to 22. It was about 2 inches. It was about 2 inches long. So it was a big rock, They would have took that 2-inch rock and broke it up into pieces, and that would have been the only rock they donated in pieces to other countries. So the backstory don't fit. What happened doesn't fit. It was a NASA employee that was at the museum and warned the curator of the museum that, hey, I highly doubt that this is a rock from the moon, and I know that NASA wouldn't have donated such a big sample so close after the moon landing and them being returned. Because you got to remember, this was 1969. This was before any other moon missions had went back and collected any other samples. So what the little bit of rocks they had was all they had. So get your stories right. Do a little research. I found this out. I knew about the petrified wood. I already knew about that, and I knew it was a hoax. I just didn't know the names of the people, and I was just sitting reading it off the internet to you guys. But here's the thing. That literally took me 2 seconds, a 2-second Google search. That's all it takes, Level Earth Observer, to actually do a little bit of research and find out that what you're saying isn't fucking stupid. You're just an idiot. You want the Earth to be fake or round or flat. You want space to be fake, and you want NASA to be liars. You yourself or none of your buddies can provide one drop of evidence that NASA has ever lied. And if you can, post it in the comments and I will delete my fucking channel. I mean it. And I'll delete my other channel that you don't know what it is, but totally destroys everything because it's a science channel. And it totally destroys all your guys' claims. So I'll delete that one too. I'll tell you what the name of it is and I'll delete it. How's that? So yeah, you're a fucking idiot. I find it funny that you're sitting around saying how, oh, look at how they must have ate some magic mushrooms. Look at how he's driving this thing. Do you know how things respond in space? Well, guess what, dipshit? They didn't either, because it was the first time they went. So you're dogging his driving, but yet, why don't we put you in a NASCAR race car and see how well you do? You know what I'm saying? Or let's just put you in a moon lander and put you off in space and let's see how well you drive it. I mean, because, hey, you have a driver's license, so you should be able to drive the moon lander too, right? You don't make no sense, dude. Nobody in the world sees this magic haze around the fucking spacecraft like you're saying. And guess what? They put the space shuttle or the space lane, the orbiter in. They put that image in there after the fact in 1969, dude. And you don't think that it would be blatantly obvious? CGI shit today you can tell if you watch good enough. And you think that 50-something years ago they had the technology to presuppose a fucking lunar craft floating in space into the 8mm film that they had? Get the fuck out of here, dude. You're a damn idiot, dude. You're just a damn idiot. Delete your channel and go back to school, dude.
That's enough for me. I'm out. If anyone believes the moon landing's real, just after reviewing that footage, then I don't know what to say to you. I really don't. I do, actually. The best of luck. Look after yourself. Be well. That's all I can say to you. Stop watching fucking TV, for fuck's sake. Moon landing debunked, just based on their own footage, their own claims, and calling the moon landing utter fucking nonsense.
Predators used to eat prey, and that killer instinct's still in our DNA.
I'm pretty much sure it's pronounced DNA.
Don't tell me what I know, Travis.
Yeah, that clip right there, that's what reminds me of this guy. No evidence, no proof. It's just fake because he says it is. Don't tell me what I know, Travis. You know what I'm saying? That's this guy. So here's your big whopping proof in yet another one of this idiot's videos. Let's go see if he's got a proof for another video he posts.
Get a real fly on the wall feel here for satellite separation. The GSAT 11 is going to give us the pleasure of that experience. Let's have a look.
Coming up on confirmation from the DDO on separation of our upper passenger due in just about 20 seconds. You see GSAT 11 on the left of your screen. The gold and white square. Underneath that, the black bell-shaped structure is the carrying structure for our second passenger. Always a moment of high concentration. The teams have gone through these procedures before, but it does call for tremendous focus.
It does, and it's incredibly tense to get one cartoon to separate from another cartoon, whilst at the same time coordinate that with the said data coming through the screen at the same time that relates to this separation of the two cartoons. It's incredibly difficult to coordinate and incredibly tense, and obviously you can feel that energy coming from the control room.
Right.
So this is the only clip I'm going to show from this idiot's video of this, because he says the same thing through the whole thing, how it's so hard for them to get one cartoon picture to separate from another cartoon picture. He provides no proof that it's fake, no proof it's CGI, no proof of nothing. It's just his opinion, like always, that he's debunking space and NASA, and a couple other globe earthers, guys that do science channels, debunked a bunch of his videos. And then he responded with another video for both of them saying how they helped him debunk Earth and space and the ISS, but yet provided no proof of how they did that. He just said they helped him debunk all that. So thanks for them. Thanks, guys. Yeah, this dude's an idiot. I mean, I don't know what to say. The dude makes a claim. He makes a claim against something and provides no proof. Well, I'm gonna invoke Occam's razor and say anything presented with no evidence can be dismissed with no evidence. So your claims on all your videos dismissed because you, sir, are an idiot. Ding.
We're going to have a quick look of the heliocentric fantasist claims that mass attracts mass. We're going to have a quick look at this demonstration, and then we're going to absolutely annihilate it with practical reality. Let's have a quick look.
On each end of the bar we put a lead ball. The two balls balance and the bar is free to turn. Now we put another ball on the left side of each of the two original ones.
Cue the psychedelic magnetic music to get you to believe in this absurdity. Let's have a look.
If everything attracts everything else, the balls should attract each other and the bar should move. There is an attraction of gravity between the lead balls.
Ooh. How do I know you're not turning that above the camera there, my dear man?
Right.
So this is this guy's total disingenuous dishonesty here to say that the guy doing this experiment is lying, cheating, fixing it. Okay, first of all, that's the Cavendish experiment, okay? And I don't expect you to understand it, Level Earth Observer, but the Cavendish experiment, Cavendish didn't do this experiment to prove gravity, okay? Gravity was already proven when he did this, okay? He was trying to find the density of Earth so he could weigh Earth. That's what he was doing, nothing more, okay? Gravity was just a side component to this test, and it is a good way to show that mass attracts mass. Now, I don't expect you to understand that I'm sure your next words are going to be, well, how come we're not sticking to the side of a building when we walk by it? You know, there's other forces acting on us, and there's also other forces involved in that experiment. There was no tension, you know, between them on that wire that's holding it. There's really no tension there. So it's free to spin. Very little tension. Very, very, I mean, a minute, almost immeasurable amount of tension. Okay? We all know you're this big crane operator, Level Earth Observer, and you think that because you dangle your crane down holding a box and they say Earth rotates at 1,000 miles an hour, but where you're located is 600 and something mile an hour. How come we don't see that box that you're dangling on your crane flying around? Well, it's the same reason why if you take a weight and you tie a string on it and you hang that string on your rear view mirror and you take off on the highway and you go set your cruise control at 60 mile an hour. What's that weight doing? Once you've reached your speed you're going to go to, you set your cruise control. While your car's going at a steady, even speed, do you feel it moving? Does the weight hanging from your rear view mirror, is it flying backwards or is it just dangling straight down? My suggestion to you, sir, is understand what gravity is, understand what reference frames are. Your homework, Level Observer, is to go open up a Google tab, do some high IQ research, bro, and study reference frames. It may help you in this, but let's keep watching this because I have a feeling he's going to get this demonstrably wrong.
I don't. But what I do know is what you're showing me there is utter nonsense of the highest order. And I can show you why. Bear with me. And this is how I know that chap was talking utter nonsense. Core, approximately 60 tonne, plus 30 tonne of staging and shuttering. So according to that chap, every time I go next to that core with the crane, there's some attraction, some mass attracting mass. So the block or the load, according to that chap, should be pulled towards the greater mass. Bearing in mind, I've got not only to the right we've got the Earth pulling according to the globe, but of course to the left you've got the Earth pulling plus another 90 tonne. So there should be a greater mass pulling on the crane's load or the crane's block. Right, let's come up here to give you a slightly easier demonstration. We'll pretend this is a building or the core. So according to the claims of the heliocentric fantasists, every time I come down, let's assume my finger's the crane with a load. With a load, let's say that's a 200 tonne building. I'm coming down with a load, say some concrete. They're claiming that mass attracts mass. So according to their fantasy world, every time I do a lift, either next to a building or next to a core, there's a pulling force pulling at the crane's load or block to try and get it to attract to each other. Don't you think if that was real, tower crane drivers, every crane driver on Earth would need to be taught that? Don't you think that? It's just nonsense of the highest order. Prime example, a library building years ago, I had 6 ton in a concrete skip. Inside this massive library building, there were students in the windows, at the benches, studying on their computers. I had 6 ton of concrete. Now, thankfully, the mass attracting mass is utter nonsense, because the 6 ton of concrete would have gone straight through the windows and destroyed the library building of the university, and probably took out quite a few students as well. Can you see how ridiculous this heliocentric nonsense is? I can assure you, driving cranes, whether it be ped cranes, tower cranes, for the last 20 years, there is no force of mass attracting mass. Otherwise, I would never be able to do a lift next to a building or a big core or anything with a lot of mass, because it would pull me to the building or the core or whatever the great mass is. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Again, the tower crane destroys the heliocentric fantasy. Cheers.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Right. So, I'm speechless about this, you guys. This guy's total lack of understanding of how force is and reference frames, because he's got other videos that I'm not going to get into now that just shows him in his big crane that he's so proud of being an operator of, just standing still holding a big like freight car or something and asking why it's not just flying around because the earth is spinning. Anybody that asks a question like that is a fucking idiot. Okay, what he don't realize is that there's other forces in play when he lifts and brings up, putting tension on that wire that's holding that box that he's lifting, or that 60 tons of concrete, lifting it up is force. There's a force that he's applying there. There's tension on that wire, and not to mention it's being pulled up. So in Cavendish, you don't see that. Cavendish made sure he took out any variables that might affect them balls. You know what I mean? Just like your little snafu, whatever you want to call it, about saying, oh, the great magnetic force. There's them were lead balls. There's no lead is diamagnetic, so therefore ain't magnetic. It's actually the opposite of that. So learn that too. But bottom line, this guy's total misunderstanding of physics and the world around him leads him to believe that the earth is flat. He's nothing more than an idiot, and he's got stupid ass videos about the coronavirus and it's how it's a fake hoax. Well, here's a little I guess all viruses are fake to this guy, because I'm pretty sure that during the Black Plague, Newton fled to the countryside, and while he was in quarantine, self-quarantining himself away from this virus that was killing millions and millions of people, is where he came up with gravity, where he came up with calculus. I guess that his research on optics and light were just all fake too, right? Like this big gravity is fake, right? No, you're an idiot. Obviously quarantines are something that need to happen because people die from viruses. So anyway, all that aside, that's video for another time. The guy's an idiot. He provides no proof of anything. but slaps his videos in the community saying how he's debunked this and he's debunking that, while showing no evidence, no proof, no experiments debunking anything, just talking. The Dunning-Kruger with this guy is amazing. He thinks that he can debunk thousands of years of research, experimentation, studies by some of the leading men in science and the most brilliant minds of ours and past generations. He's so smart and knows so much that all he's got to do is say it's debunked, and it's debunked. All right, guys. Well, look, I'm glad you guys watched it to the end. Excuse me. Thanks for sticking around. Sorry it's a little rough video. I'm not feeling all that well. Feeling a little under the weather. So thanks for bearing with me. And I'm going to load this and I'm going to take me a nap, guys. All right. You all take care. Stay safe, guys. Peace.